This is the sideline quad hip flexor stretch. So what we want to do in this position is go to your back, legs straight. Instructions are really specific here. We want to bring your right knee to your chest. It's important that your knee stays close to your body. So you're going to bring that across your body first. You use that left arm to anchor that right knee in place. Don't let the knee drop. That's the first thing you're going to try to do to your pelvic position to reduce the stretch. Reach back with the open palm towards the ceiling behind you. Take your left foot in your right hand if possible. Have your head down. Big breaths from the stomach. Inhale in through the nose. Pause. Exhale through the mouth. You should feel the stretch get further with each exhale. Inhale. And you'll feel that movement pattern open up through the stretch duration, which we're asking for in general. 6 inhale and exhale cycles. 6 good quality breaths, pulling that air into the nose, exhaling through the mouth. This is Shin Box Hip Mobility. So this one we can do in a couple of different ways. The most basic version is going to be just a passive version. This is the Shin Box position. So we basically take one leg out to the side, one leg folded in front of you. Here's the half of our box that we're referring to here. What you're going to do is square yourself over your hips. Big breath, inhale. Exhale and bring yourself fold over that top leg. Another big breath in. And just try to get a little further into flexion, flexing your trunk, flexing from your low back. Over that front leg. Same 6 breaths on one side, and then we'll switch to 6 breaths on the other. The more active version I was talking about is we can actually alternate the leg and incorporate a little bit of a dynamic hip action. So what you can do is start here, fold, big breath, same thing, inhale. Exhale, sit up, open shoulders, open hips, rotate across from the legs, fold over that leg, big breath. And then repeat and just follow through. Instead of 6 breaths on one side, we now have 12 reps, which will end up being 6 on each side, just alternating sides. And you can incorporate a little bit of good hip internal and external rotation. And by the end of that, you should feel much looser in those positions. This is the Quadruped long adductor groin stretch. Your adductor, well, we have long adductors and we have short adductors on the inner thigh, generally referred to as the groin. What we'll do is go to quadruped, which is going to be wrist under the shoulder, knees under the hips. You're going to bring one leg out. In this case, this is my left leg. We're going to go left foot in line with my right knee. We want to make sure we've got good alignment getting started. Now, a lot of times you'll feel your hip kick out, so I always tell people to brace from core here, pressure in your hands, use that to create stability, and that's going to drive the stretch getting back into that leg. Big breath. Big breath in, exhale out. If you're more comfortable, you can drop to elbows here. Same breath cycle. There's another version you can do. You can come in and out of that stretch just depending on what your level of comfort is in that position, and sometimes that points back to the surface that you're on. Soft surface like this, you're generally good holding the stretch. If you need to move in and out to kind of alleviate some of the stress in the knees in this position, perfectly fine. This is the tactical frog stretch. This one gets its name just to quick breakdown because you'll end up in this position, which is pretty frog-like. What we want to do is have the knees out wider than in our standard position. As I showed before briefly, you're going to walk your hands out. Now from here, it's really important that we create good alignment. So trunk, abs, braced here. You're going to bring your hands through. You want your wrist under your shoulder. And then we've really got to emphasize getting those hips through while staying braced from core. This is actually not an easy position to get into for a lot of us. Pressure there. Big breath in. Exhale. Draw back into hips. Big breath in. We can hit a reset in that position if necessary. More tension in core, hips, glutes firing. Draw back into hips, big breath. And we should get looser. This is more of a short adductor version of a groin stretch. We did long adductors before. This is a short version. This is the core engaged dead bug. What we're trying to do is bring some stability from the core to drive good hip motion. Okay, so what we're gonna do is lay back. We just have to have something that could be firm, that won't move. It could be something like this sofa here, or it could be a wall or a doorway. What you'll do is keep your abs down. You gotta push your hips up, flatten out the low back, and remove that space from between the ground and our low back. Flatten out here. Pressure in your hands. You want to create a dynamic push and hold that tension. You're going to bring your knees up and then toes up at a 90-degree position. Straighten one leg out. Keep that pressure in your hands. Alternate. And we'll do this for 12 repetitions. We'll drive an active stretch of the hip while we're getting good core stability, and that's the best way to reinforce good mobility in that position. This is the bent knee side plank with the groin squeeze. So what we can do is we can use a foam roller between our knees. This is actually a better fit, will be something softer like a pillow here. We want to line up on our side. You want your elbow, the down elbow, so my right elbow and my right knee should be on the same line. I'm actually folded just behind that from my hip position. We want to create good alignment from our trunk, so abs here, one straight line from our head going through our hips, right at midline there. And you're gonna brace from that position, push your hips through, keep that squeeze of that pillow, draw back, reset, push through, pause, squeeze there, draw back, push through, hold, squeeze, watch position, make sure it checks out, watch for sagging, reset for whatever the number of reps is based on the phase. This is quadruped, the bear position shoulder taps. So this one we use actually to get ourselves out of extension and get into abs a little bit more. So quadruped here, wrist on the shoulder, knees into the hips. We're gonna raise the knees just so they float just off the ground. And then we wanna hollow out that trunk position. So it's really this position here, drawn, and then we're gonna alternate a shoulder tap, trying to minimize movement of your trunk and hips. This is side-lying, long adductor leg raises. So what we'll do is go to a sideline position here. We want our trunk to be in alignment. Watch for the trunk position here. You're gonna bring the free leg up, so the top leg should be up around hip height. And then staying in that sideline position, you're going to elevate that long leg, bring it back down with control, elevate, brief pause in that position, bring it down, elevate, bring it down. Really basic pattern, really low level of adductor recruitment, but a good hygiene step for us in developing better hips. Here we're gonna use this sofa here to do the Copenhagen, the level 1 hold. So level 1 starts, what we're gonna do is slide in behind this here, bring that top leg up here. This leg's gonna float just behind. What we're really trying to do is create a groin squeeze pattern and basically replicating the side plank position with more load on that inner thigh, that groin and adductor region. So we're gonna push ourselves through, bring that free leg off the ground, and then we're trying to get tall and long in that position and putting a bit of load on that adductor region. Again, hold, breathe. And that's going to be a good way of getting into that adductor musculature that might be otherwise problematic to load in this time period.